This episode of Swimfans contains discussion of upsetting things. Please use discretion.
I did really intense claps there.
Yeah, there's a chaotic energy in the Swimfans studio today. I've had a little bit of wine myself, as one does.
I was watching Twitch and literally eating ramen, so I'm off that MSG shit.
Absolutely twisted on gamer vibes from Greg Neeson.
I was on the same Twitch stream Craig was. Shout outs to friend of the pod, Steph. No shout outs to Joke Boat. That's a terrible game.
No, don't do it. Friends don't let friends play Joke Boat.
You might see them in the Twitch chat being like, "Hey, what if we did Joke Boat, LOL?" And then you're probably thinking, "Haha, what's Joke Boat? Maybe it'll be fun." It won't be.
Yeah, you might think, "Hey, I'm a fan of the film Ghost Ship. What if I played Joke Boat?"
Okay, describe to me again briefly, what is Joke Boat?
It's a one-liner joke game where at once it's stifling and it also gives you way too much latitude to fall on your face.
So it's like pick a word. They'll give you 3 words, and then you pick a joke format for that word, right?
Yes.
Or is it
What's
the
a
other
joke
way around?
format?
Oh well, okay. So
they call me blank, and so the blank will be
okay.
the word you chose.
Yeah.
And then your joke is the line that comes after. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't endorse Joke Boat.
Yeah.
Friends don't let friends do Twitch streams where they play Joke Boat stuff.
Yeah, and the words that you get are words that people have entered. So when I was constructing my first joke, I had to work with Neopets, Pokemon cards, and so on. And I was like,
Real Steph shit, yeah.
It's like like playing with Steph is like pick a word, pick. Choose one of these 3, and it's like Mega Man, Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow the Hedgehog, and you're like, all right, well.
This is the meanest cold open that we've ever had.
We don't have to use it.
Yeah, we'll cut it down. I think there's some fun in there somewhere. That's incredible. You heard it here. That's the worst game.
yeah,
That you could play on the weekend.
yep.
I'd rather work.
I'd rather get stepped on by Big the Cat.
Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah, that's a groovy Saturday.
That's my Sunday, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hit it!
Hello and welcome to Swim Fans, the erotic thriller turned teen movie genre podcast. I am your co-host, Josh, desperately trying not to make a Debussy joke, Mackenzie.
Hi, I'm Craig, bringing my stuffed teddy bear to a concert. Neeson.
I'm personality test winner Alex Hawking.
This week on the pod, we are talking about 2001 Shunji Iwai teen coming of age sort of film, all about Lily Chou-Chou. So if you've not seen All About Lily Chou-Chou, the plot is told sort of out of time, but for your sake, we're going to go chronologically here. The movie's about 2 boys, Hoshino and Hasumi, in middle school. And they meet at their kendo club, and like they kind of become friends there. The kendo club training is like kind of really hard on them, so the 2 of them and a posse of like 3 other boys kind of mug somebody. Like they mug the guy who mugged somebody.
Yeah.
To get the money to go to Okinawa for like a summer vacation to sort of unwind. While they're there, they have like fun and frolic with local girls. But Hoshino has like 2 near-death experiences. One where he's almost impaled by some sort of swordfish, and one where he almost drowns. He sort of goes from like a good-natured, top of his class student to kind of really scary and manipulative. Back at school after this trip, he sort of takes he like ascends to top bully status. He hurls a chair at a classmate and then like cuts his hair after his other classmate, who was also a bully, came in with like a weird hairstyle. He does even crueler shit like blackmail a fellow student named Suda into like sex work. And just in general, he sort of torments like everybody at school. Meanwhile, Hasumi, he is dedicated his life to a musician named Lily Chou-Chou. He is the like moderator of a forum, like a message board about Lily Chou-Chou and her music. And the only rule in the forum is that you have to love Lily. So he posts there using the handle Philia, as in like Lily Philia. You really love Lily, big Lily guy. And the whole movie is sort of wrapped up in this sort of framing device of Lily Chou-Chou and her magic being expressed from her music. So, you know, Hoshino shows Hasumi Lily's music, and Hasumi and then in turn is then able to share it with Suda. And, you know, each of these characters has kind of like their own reaction to Lily's music. Finally, as we get sort of like to the end of the film, Suda, who is kind of, you know, really struggling with, of course, being blackmailed, kills herself by leaping off of like some sort of like electrical tower. At that Hoshino's hands, another girl named Kuno is sexually assaulted by a classmate, and she shaves her head out of shame. And then, you know, finally this whole thing sort of culminates in Lily Chou-Chou coming to Tokyo, where, you know, Hasumi goes looking to see his idol. He runs into Hoshino there. Hoshino takes Hasumi's ticket, rips it up, throws it away, ruins Hasumi's chance of seeing Lily live. And, you know, as the concert is ending, Hoshino comes out. Hasumi murders him, stabs him with a blade, sort of in like the confusion of the crowd. And, you know, he leaves sort of more or less ending this like malignant force in the high school, you know, setting free Kuno in the process. And, you know, all of this is intercut with messages from the forum. It's intercut with Lily's music herself. You know, so really she's kind of guiding the whole film as well. What did you guys think of All About Lily Chou-Chou?
I've been bewitched by this movie since I first saw it. I think it's one of the most powerful films I've ever seen. So like personally impactful, but also I think like a really harrowing kind of portrait of what it's like to grow up and like specifically grow up in the age of like the kind of dawning internet, where there are like usernames and handles, and you are like intimate with people on the internet, and your day-to-day life is like what Yuichi says, is like it's gray, right? The world is gray now, but like it's a really stark thing, the kind of lived experience of these kids, and kind of the way that they're able to speak so like beautifully about like the resonant quality and property of like this music that they find so transcendent, but like as they're getting corrupted by, you know, growing up, by money, by bullying, it's a really it feels like weirdly reductive to call this like a coming of age movie. It's just like the kind of corruption of innocence, and yeah, it's frightening. It's one of these things that's as frightening as it is like kind of elegiac and like kind of unspeakably beautiful, both like visually, and the fucking soundtrack just so stunning, so impactful. It's just like getting, you know, shot through with like complete bliss watching this movie.
I think this movie slaps. I don't like kind of Craig was saying, I don't think I've seen a movie that like so accurately captures the feeling of like specifically being a depressed kid online in the early 2000s, which just kind of like just cuts real deep into me.
Yeah.
Then also it has this really like slow pace that like reflects its sort of like rural settings of like almost like just nothing's really happening. There's just all these like super wide shots of just like rice fields, and it's like that's all that's really around them. I also love its kind of fragmented structure. I think it's edited really well that way. It keeps something very mysterious about itself. It doesn't really give itself away very easily, and I like that about it. And it does this sort of Benny's Video-esque kind of style switch. It goes from this, honestly, I think beautiful for how it looks is like early HD video footage, and then it becomes like a more of like a home camcorder footage as you see like the tapes they were making while they're on vacation. I think that's really beautiful. Sex slave thing might be a little much, but overall I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's not in Conoco. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like an exploitation movie, though.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's not here.
Well, we can get into this.
I mean, I don't think this is an exploitation movie, but I don't think there's not that sort of like feeling there. I don't remember which of you said it. To call this a coming-of-age film, I do think is reductive, but, Matt asked while we were watching this, like, what kind of movie is this? And I'm like, well, it's not a coming-of-age film. Technically, they do that in the movie. But, yeah, it's sort of special in that way. I really like Craig's use of elegaic. There's a really mournful quality to this movie. I think this is really special. I don't know. I hadn't seen this since the Craig Neeson Film Festival many years ago. So like I sort of had like a fuzzy memory of what this was about. I remembered posting, and I remembered music, and I remembered the really harrowing masturbation scene, and the stabbing. So, I had a really good like sample platter of what this movie was about.
Yeah.
But this film is it's really rich. The film sort of switches protagonists in the middle because like for like the flashback scenes, you're kind of more with Hoshino than you are with Asumi. And I think that's great. You get, because like he's like you really get this sense that he's kind of this kid who's really trying his best to be like a good student, be good in school, and then you lose his perspective during his like sort of turn. So he sort of feels like, I don't know, like it's just really sad in that way, because it's this person that you spend time with and you feel like you get to know, and then you sort of lose him in like this shadow of like switching protagonists. And then you're like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like what happened to go, so bad? And there's hints in the film of a near-death experience kind of triggering this personality turn. Kanzaki, like the school bully, hints it's because his family fell apart somewhere in between the gaps of the film. And I'm trying to think of like, a similar protagonist, that I kind of felt that way about. This is very tragic, but also he's a really bad person, and you sort of find yourself, I don't know, sympathy for the devil in that way, because he's also a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All that to say, like, I mean, this movie is so rich without like insisting upon itself. It really takes the time. Like Alex said, it's really slow paced. This is like a 2.5 hour movie. It's a lot of shots of kids listening to CDs in a field, and it's great because like you really, at least to me, it harkens back to being a kid listening to CDs in a field. I don't know. Like, I mean, this is just an absolute home run for me. I think this is so special, top to bottom. I don't have a lot like negative to say about it, really.
Speaking to CDs, there's a scene where the main dude pulls a CD out of his backpack, like unzips it, and then like immediately I was like, I don't like remember carrying CDs around to listen to music. And there's something about like the feeling of that like hard CD case plastic cased in like the vinyl of a backpack that like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Did weird stuff to my brain.
Yeah, and they're kind of like the clatter of them together, even, or and even the kind of like the tangle of your headphones and the CD player and the CD itself. Like, there's so much. I don't know. There's so much there that and the kind of clatter of the keyboard that provides like a sound. I mean, it's literally like a soundtrack, kind of like recurring motif is the keyboard clatter. I can understand like a read of this film, or well, let me put it this way: it's really difficult for me to disassociate my like personal feelings for this film and try to observe this as though like all the things that I'm seeing aren't like exactly resonant of my experience in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really hard for me to step away from the film and observe it from like some kind of detached point of view, where like, oh well, I could see how like this narrative structure might not play out super well for certain people. It's like, no, this is a movie they made about me. You know, like on a different a completely different corner of the world, but like I had the same fucking experience, you know, like just it's wild, it's uncanny in that way. And I mean, I hate to be like only 90s kids remember, but like it really is kind of one of those things where if you didn't maybe grow up in the dawn of this thing and you didn't come of age, like come of like sexual maturity in well, at least, yeah, that's a troublesome sticking point for the movie actually is but you know, where does childhood end and like adulthood begin?
Right.
But like it's just it's so it's so powerful and bewitching that it's hard to read it, how to understand someone who might not have the same kind of like, it's like somatic bodily thing of like, again, not knowing what it feels like to carry a CD in your fucking backpack.
I was thinking if nobody else had any like particular jumping off point, I thought we could start by talking about Lily.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so the movie opens with a post, as all good movies do, about how Lily was born on the day that Mark David Chapman assassinated John Lennon. So already it's giving her this sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Mythology?
Like biblical mythological
Yeah.
importance. Like
Right.
she sprouted from the blood of John Lennon.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, what this movie's so good at is that, you know, Lily's not a character. You don't even really see her except for kind of in like a music video at the end of the movie. She's not a character. You don't hear from her. You don't even hear anything like from her. You hear like things interpreted by other people about her.
Yeah.
So she takes on this, you know, this, like, you know, Alex is saying, this like godlike mythology that she is, it's like an angel of music.
Yeah.
You know, the like a running theme in this movie is about the ether, capital E ether, and the ether is just this ineffable connection between people. And, you know, red ether is despair and blue ether is hope. And Lily lives in the ether, and she is important as a being because she can deliver the ether to you, a mere mortal.
Yeah.
And again, all posts. So this is you know, kids, 14, 15, presumably, who are posting about, you know, Lily's godlike ability to speak music to power. There's a fun part that I like where they talk about other musicians who are tapped into the ether, and they're like, I don't know, Bjork.
Yeah.
I think they say somebody else. I can't quite remember who.
The Beatles, I think they say.
Yeah. Someone says the Beatles.
Yeah. So there's this recurring theme of like like in every like posting segment, the ether comes up at least once. Like it's just this, you know, this like divine connection between people. And I think she. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say her fans talk about the ether out loud to each other in the real world as well. Like when someone does something bad involving Lily Chou-Chou, they'll be like, "You're tainting the ether."
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing crime against the ether. It's like a religious sort of like a karmic system. You know, you're doing negative ether, you know,
Which is also what you do when you leave negative reviews on the Apple Podcast Swimfans page.
you tear out the ether of Swimfans.
Yeah, don't give us the red ether, which is despair. This is a blue ether only
Blue ether,
zone.
please.
But you know what I like about like her whole existence being like rumor and exaggeration and just like personal like projection onto her is that like it reminds me of being like 9 and hearing you know ad nauseum about how Marilyn Manson had a rib removed to suck his own dick.
Right.
You know I mean, of course the real world is always worse than movies, right? So the rumors aren't as cool, but like it's like the idea that this figure exists in the imagination of you, the person who has purchased her CD and is standing alone in the field listening to it. And, it really gives her this otherworldly quality that's so important, because I remember thinking about people like that, when I was 13. Like, this is like a genius,
Right.
Who's beaming thoughts into my skull.
Yeah.
And it's such a smart framing device here.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's almost like a step beyond parasocial. And shout out to Shannon's Chou-Chou and parasocial hell. But they've really deified her in a way that is deified her, and they're kind of arguing about the rules of her world. This thing that she's established for them, which of course they're creating for themselves. And I mean, it's so, having grown up myself on forums with a favorite rock band, which is such a quintessential white American male thing to have. But like, I mean, so spot on of being able to speak so like loquaciously and like elegantly and with a kind of tenderness on the internet, but then live a life that's so like deprived of like love and warmth, a life that's kind of like more often like cruel and inexplicable than anything. So this overlapping, this kind of tension between them sketching out the kind of world of Lily's, which, I mean, she's just a musician putting out music,
Right.
And even like Alex was saying, in the real world they do talk about it, and it's often like at the end it's so contentious that people almost get in a fucking fight over it. This man claims that like secretly one of her former bandmates has been backing her up the whole time, and like it causes like two other people waiting in line to like want to like fucking kick him while he's down.
Two adult men almost get in a brawl.
Right.
I love that one guy so much, that like dude with the inverted cross,
Yes.
who's like, yeah, that guy stole the movie for like 4 minutes.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, he's like laying out this kind of I mean, he's like, it's so interesting because I know this like type of like poster that's like going against the orthodoxy of like the forum. And getting
He's
kind of,
arguing
like,
with the mods.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a dangerous game to play.
It's
You
really
always
an
lose.
arguing with
House
the
always
mods
wins.
IRL type situation, that sequence, and he is so great because he's got this like, it's not even emo, it's like goth. Well, it's like goth with like a dash of emo, kind of
proto emo.
yeah,
It's
proto emo, and it's just, he's so fantastic laying these kind of like uncomfortable truths on like these like unwitting people in line. Like, you don't talk about the ether like that. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Someone that's like not following the party line. It's really fascinating to see like what happens when you step out of line in that regard.
I had to explain to Matt that there was like a 6-year period where the worst thing you could call somebody is a poser.
Oh yeah, right.
And like I was like, look, from like I'm gonna say 2003 to 2009, I would rather be called a faggot than a poser any day. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
like there's a hierarchy of insults, and poser is
yeah.
the S rank one.
Yeah, poser cut way deeper.
So you think you know me? You think you know me?
I mean, and poser is great too. I mean, it has a kind of cutting power because everyone is kind of at that point in their life, like desperately trying to project. Like, I mean, we do it all the time. Hashtag Judith Butler, but like, trying to perform a certain, perform and project a certain vision of themselves, and usually not doing such a good job of it. So like poser, I think cuts deeper with like a wider range of people. It could be thrown around like at anyone, and still be like, like critically effective. Yeah, poser was fucking sharp shit.
Well, because it implies that you can see behind their mask, right? Like their vibe isn't working, and especially in this movie where like this, this almost deity of a character is given such importance by like the entire main cast, it's almost like a lack of religious faith or some sort of blasphemy, right, to be called a poser.
Right. You're not part of the order of things. You're being called heretical in a way.
I was gonna say you're a heretic.
Yeah.
You're out of the ether.
Yeah, and that's the thing about casting that stone too, is when you call someone a poser, you belong to the in group of like the person whomst is not posing. It's a reinforcement, and it's like an aspersion, you know.
And I mean, that's what's so great about this, right? Is like that's like so insanely something for kids, right? To like see the world this black and white. Like Lily is a perfect genius, you know. But also doing things like blackmailing somebody into sex work, or like, raping a classmate. You know what I mean? Like, so it's this insane dichotomy between like childlike things, like really liking a musician, and just the most depraved things you can do to other human beings. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's one of the things that, like Hanukkah, like is always, well, especially in things like. Well, I mean, and just kind of in general, I think his like view on like children is that like, that they are children and they are, full of like love and joy and light. But like, that's not to say that they don't have the capacity for like insane cruelty, the kind of cruelty that you would only ascribe to like a quote unquote adult. Yeah. I mean, Hoshino's kind of, a downward trajectory it feels so tactile and so real. Like I just that kind of like experience of Okinawa being this place of like wonder and excitement, and then the driver of the kind of tour that they're on saying like, did you bring something bad here? Did you? And and the bad thing that Hoshino kind of lands on is like, oh, it was the money, right, which he then like casts into the water. It's you can kind of see where this really sharp like divergence came from, or at least the seeds of it,
I really love this movie's the way they handle like being the age like 12 to 15, like, because it is such just an insane part of like growing up where you are now too old to do incredibly childish stuff, but you're also not. Like, your brain is still soft and you don't fully understand the next part. And part of exploring your boundaries can get like genuinely destructive and antisocial. I think a lot of kids grow out of it, but that it can still just like ruin your and the people around you's lives, and they can all get kind of caught up in that like vague haze of like hormones and societal expectations. Is like, I don't know, I think that this is like one of the best depictions of that idea.
I think that there's like a tendency to view that point, well, I mean, at least in an American sense, like, yes, like bullying, that's a problem or whatever, but it's all just high school, right? That this is the sandbox where people are like feeling out the world, and they'll eventually kind of escape it. But this movie is like, no, I mean, it can also go like, or it can and often does go off the rails and like permanently scar people, permanently reinforce hideous, like Alex was saying, like antisocial, like personality disorders, and where you suffer like extreme abuse, like the right. Amazing pianist who was at first bullied by that absolutely savage group of girls who at first
honestly virtuosos in
the way that they go in on Hoshino, they're his, well, at least in the film's chronology, their first victim is Hoshino, and they're like doing this thing where they're kind of like lining up and then rotating, like they're like delivering like slam poetry lines like against Hoshino, and it's just like
it's like three really mean parrots that just keep like ducking.
He gets absolutely served by these girls.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're hitting like all the kind of greatest hits of like what we understand about bowling. Like everyone secretly hates you. You think you're better than us, but you're really not. You know, all the kind of like greatest hits, just like bam, 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 bam.
There's about 3 gay slurs in there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, do you like one of us? No, you couldn't possibly like one of us. Faggot, you know, like just savage.
Did you guys? Let me ask you this: did you guys think it was like kind of like a? I don't want to say mystery because that implies like that it was like an important part of the movie. Did you guys find that you were surprised about which people matched up to which posters at the end of the film?
The first time I saw it, yes. I was very, very surprised.
Yeah, I also remember being pretty shocked.
Yeah. I mean, now that I've been around the bend and I know who Blue Cat is, which is kind of, I mean, that's the big mystery, right? That's like the big selling thing is like the reveal of Blue Cat being Hoshino. It in most of the conversations that are overlaid are directly conversation between Philia and Hoshino. And yeah, no, it was a huge mystery at first viewing, but now possessing that knowledge, I don't want to say like it dramatically changes the movie, but there is this kind of like now the flat text and their kind of like very generous conversations between each other play off of what you're seeing on the screen in such a like dramatic way. You know, the kind of like sparks between what you're seeing in the sort of flatness of the text and the kind of like very wide, very like all-encompassing like visuals that you're seeing. It's like, oh, like they're speaking to each other in such an intimate way, and look at how they're behaving. You know, look at what Hoshina's doing. You know, it's so powerful. I mean, it changes the movie in I think a better way or something. I mean, it's fun to have the mystery of like who is posting. Whose handle is who?
Me every day.
Yeah, right. But I think the movie is kind of improved when you know that Blue Cat is a monster, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's great that it on the second time through you get to see more than just like one side of Hoshino as a character. You also see that he is totally capable of being like friends with a stranger on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it makes him so much more like richer.
Yeah, I mean that sleepover sequence is really wild too. I mean, a lot of the emphasis is on like the hot mom, and how like fucking weird the hot mom is being. But at a certain point, you know, Hoshino is like, you know, speaking about like what he's seeing through the telescope, right? About like, you know, and there's like the class disparity too, right? Hoshino's clearly extremely wealthy relative to like Yuichi's family, which is interesting. One of the friends from martial arts class. What's it called?
Kendo.
Kaido. You know, talks about how rich people do it all the time. Like what, you know, he almost explains verbatim like the experience that Yuichi had where you know, she fed him, you know, gave him like tons of food, and she's like, he's like, you know, that's what rich people do. They invite kids over so that people will be friends with their kids. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, is that what she was doing? But no, I mean, Hoshino is very generous, very kind during that like sleepover that they have. It's very much like two kids being kids thing, you know? Yeah.
Well, like I want to go back to the posting versus reality thing, but like I how do I say this without sounding like I outsmarted the movie, because that's not what I'm trying to say. I didn't find it was mysterious who was who, because like the cinematic language I thought was pretty clear. Like when it was describing the vacation in Okinawa, we get this shift to Blue Cat posting.
Yeah.
And the whole narrative is very heavily Hoshino focused at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas when Philia has like kind of that long monologue, it's like shots of Hasumi posting.
Yeah.
I think that really complements the film because, you know, even when Hoshino goes on in like the middle end of the movie to really reach these true depths of depravity, especially for a child, he's still on there posting about to Philia, like, God, isn't Glide such a good song? Don't you love Erotic?
Right.
Aren't, like, you know, which song is your favorite? Like, I love Breathe. Like, it's so good. Like, she's saying, you know, just breathe. And it's just like these you know, this white text over this black screen, and he's just posting ecstatically about these songs. And I'm like, this kid is blackmailing people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like like showing this like difference in like this online persona to somebody, because, you know, I don't know if this has been made clear, but like Hasumi and Hoshino don't know that the other person is Philia and Blue Cat.
Yeah.
Like, Hoshino in fact never finds out because he dies, but Hasumi does figure it out. So, like, these are two people, one who has become, like, some sort of oppressed subordinate to the other person, but online, they're, like, equals. Yeah. They're posting about how good she is. And it's Blue Cat, who is, like, please come meet me at the Lily show. I'm going to be the guy holding the green apple. Yeah. And so it's you know, it's really, it feels like an extra step taken to make sure that Hoshino doesn't flatten into like this monster at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. He still has like this other side that's like a kid who loves a musician, you know, which is you know, really human, as opposed to making him some sort of awful slasher villain.
Yeah. I mean, that's ultimately what the reveal with the apple is, right? It's not that evil comes rushing in. We already know the evil. It's like humanity comes rushing in. Right. So, and that's kind of like the bizarre discord that you kind of understand Hasumi like going through when he sees that. It's like, oh, that's Blue Cat, the Blue Cat who I have like this relationship with in two different paradigms, you know, right. Two seemingly separate people, and perversely, you know, he's gonna make me hold the apple. Well, you know, he holds up my ticket and I go get him a Coke or whatever. And, you know, even this like, you know, someone, you know, even like, you know, talks about that, you know, someone, did someone come up and talk to you because you're holding the apple when he's leaving, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and he like tries to play it cool, but like he really wants to meet Philia. Yeah. So he asks like 2 or 3 times, like, did anybody come up and talk to you? Yeah. And then I think it's a really great bit of acting on Hoshino's actor's part. Like like one of the last things he says before he's killed, he's like, you know, did anybody talk to you with the apple? I can't believe you're still here. And then when Hasumi says nothing, he's like, never mind, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I really wanted to compliment Hoshino's actor in this. I think he gives the best performance in the movie. Yeah. Because he is forced to portray both like a pretty nice child, and then his transformation into like a complete like antisocial personality. Even when he is, even in that, like you said, even in that last scene, like you still feel like the complete depth of him in that moment. And that you can see how that like both of these worlds can be contained in the same person. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And a lot of it, I mean, this movie does it non-verbally, right? We're seeing like even that moment where he cuts the he kind of like asserts himself over the bully, right? He cuts his hair and then he whips a fucking chair at him while he's on the ground already. You know, we're seeing it like him from this like really bizarre angle, kind of like below almost his waist. Even we're kind of looking up at him, and it follows him with this weird kind of almost GoPro-esque distortion. You can kind of see the gears turning in his head of like what he just did, and like the fact that people witnessed it doesn't even seem to be like part of like what's happening in his mind. And you know, after like the near-death experience, like his like demeanor totally changes in Okinawa, and actually quite brilliantly, like the weather actually changes in Okinawa. Instead of being this like colorful, bright thing with these beautiful women and these fireworks and this lush tropical environment, it becomes this kind of like rainy, like dark thing. You know, choppy waves, and it's just like that turmoil like beginning to bubble in him. Like just like, I mean, being that young and being like that good at acting, you know, it's just like, so fucking crazy.
I noticed it this time. I don't know if I noticed it last time, or it's one of those things where like you don't maybe you don't notice it, your brain kind of notices it. He rolls up his sleeves after he becomes like evil.
Yeah.
Small touch. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like a quick way to kind of like change his like physical presence in the school and stuff.
Yeah, totally. And the like the 1,000-yard stare thing that he has going. He's just like, he barely looks at people. He in fact, like when he's doing violence, it's often through other people rather than him doing it himself. And the violence will be being conducted, and he'll be staring off into nothing, kind of like detached from the kind of gears that he's set in place. Yeah, I mean, and even the kind of the forced sex work, right? It's being carried out through proxies. I mean, like like he isn't collecting the money; other people are collecting the money. He isn't the one like establishing like the phone calls and the meetings; other people are doing it. He becomes this kind of like instigator, or this kind of like seed of like corruption and despair that like spreads outward. Rather than him being kind of like a physically intimidating presence or something. He is just like malevolence, and it kind of like flows from him through other students, which I think is really important. The other children, also tasting like corruption while growing up, innocence being like wilting in that way. Oh, and money. I mean, this movie has a weird thing about money that I never really keyed in on until like this watch in particular, about kind of money is like really like the destruction of it. I mean, the very first thing that happens in the film is they rob the sleeping old man on the train. And there are promissory notes and shit like in the briefcase, and the kids don't understand that that's fucking money, and they're like, this isn't worth anything, so they burn it. Like not understanding what money is, and then like you can like zip fast forward to like when Hoshino is like or when they are like secondhand stealing the money from the crew who have stolen money already. And the joy of that and what that gives them access to, which is these beautiful women in this tropical paradise. And then it becomes a curse that needs to be cast away. And then for the girl that's been blackmailed into doing sex work, she is like destroying her cut, right? She's like, she throws it on the ground and she's like trying to like erase it from existence, right? This money that she's earned, quote unquote, by sleeping with adult pedophiles, right? It's the money being this like lubricating force for like corruption.
Yeah, it's like a potent metaphor, because like it's the money as an object in and of itself that's corruptive, not the pursuit of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the this totem of money is like this heart of darkness that haunts like Hoshino and Suda, because this isn't like a movie about greed. It's like these people acquire money, and this money just reminds them of terror.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's symbolic of like the acts undertaken to acquire it, whether those acts were willed or unwilled. Kind of the like symbolic of the transaction, and not the transaction itself being like, exactly. Like it's, she's trying to erase the barbarity of, being forced to, it's just, there's something powerful about them just wanting to like erase it at the end there. It is like a totemic or something. It's like it has like a weird fetish charge that they're trying to like scrub out.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about Suda a bit, 'cause she's kind of like our third protagonist. She is the girl that Hoshino is blackmailing. Interestingly, like we don't really see them together. Like we were just told that Hoshino has like some dirt on her, like dirty pictures or something. Like they're not clear about what it is, and it's especially cold because like Hoshino doesn't force her to do anything. He recruits Hasumi to be like her keeper, like to make sure she like, I don't know, does these things. You know, and this is also like the heart of melancholy of this movie, right? Like not only is she forced against her will by, you know, somebody blackmailing her, but, you know, she is sort of the person who is like reassuring Hasumi that Kuno, you know, the other girl in the story who is also abused by the girl gang, that she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like she's going to recover. She's
tough.
going to bounce back.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, Kuno does survive the movie. But, you know, Suda sort of, you know, despite everything that's going on, you know, she sort of puts on this like bright and cheerful, or not even cheerful, more like flippant, right?
Yeah.
Like completely, you know, uninterested front, you know, just to kind of deal with her reality. And, you know, one of my favorite shots in the film is sort of near the end. She is walking through a field and she finds all these guys flying kites. And it's this beautiful photography of like this, you know, incredibly vast blue sky with these, you know, red kites. And the men flying the kites like show her how to fly one. And it's like the first time maybe in the whole movie that she's smiling genuinely and not like, as a way to like cover, you know, her feelings. And, you know, it's like, it's almost really harsh because like, it's almost like this like breath of fresh air. And then the next shot is that she has jumped from a tower,
Right.
To her death.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the heart of tragedy in this movie is just this girl who, you know, by the actions of these boys has completely been reduced, you know, to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and even her death being kind of framed like that, where she's, you know, so like in love with these kites that have this freedom, and, you know, they're darting in and out of the sky, and you know, she says something to the effect of like, you know, wouldn't it be great to ride one, you know, like, I mean, it's like, it's an interesting metaphor or something, you know, that they're being controlled from the ground by these men, but, you know, in the air they have this like agility and they have this like appearance of freedom. And, you know, the movie doesn't of course say this, but like in my mind it's like she climbed the tower in order to like be free, like the kite is free. And like in the movie doesn't, I mean, it doesn't do that. It doesn't come out and tell you that, but for me it's always resonated with that and made her death like so much more fucking like tragic, because she wanted to be free, right? She wanted to be up in the sky like these beautiful kites that she just saw. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's so fucking powerful. And the fucking cinematography in that sequence, when we first see the kites, we're getting lens flare from the tower that she eventually, or at least, you know, we're seeing these an electrical tower. We're seeing these kites kind of like dance like around it, while this like fractal like rainbow lens flare is like coming through from the sun, and it's just like, oh, like how, like, you know, and I mean, kites having that like childlike whimsy about them, right? You know, it's so innocent and free, and, you know, you can see her like wanting that, and then trying to achieve it. And, you know, when she's when that man is kind of like, you know, talking to her about the kites, like, you know, pull up, and you know, she's trying her hand at it, and her kite, you know, kind of like doesn't crash to the ground, but kind of skids to the ground, and she, you know, she apologizes, like, you know, and it's like that's, she's gonna try again, you know, that's what she did, is she tried again, but with her own body, you know.
I remember I wanted to talk about like kind of like the construction and the editing of like building up to that reveal as well, because it goes from the kites, which as Craig was saying is this beautiful like liberating scene, and then it cuts to a different scene for a bit where they explain that someone has died and you don't really know who yet. And then after that's kind of established, it cuts to this like craning down shot on her, and it's her lifeless body. And this movie does like death in this really grisly way too, because there's like a guy who dies in Okinawa, or he gets hit by a car in Okinawa, and it's shot in this really grainy footage that makes it look like crime scene footage or something.
Yeah.
There's like a real grit to the death in this movie. And you sort of just see her laying out in like blood pool, and then it kind of goes in quite slowly, but it still kind of like follows the path that she would have fallen on, and then you see like a wire, and then there's hanging on the wire is like this massive cell phone charm cluster thing, which is just such like a signifier of that character as well. It's like 4 times the size of her phone. Like, it's very easy to recognize. And then I think there's also blood on the wire too, right?
There is.
Yeah.
And you can really just like see the whole, like it correctly doesn't show her actual death, but it shows you enough of the aftermath and the position of everything for it to basically play out in your head as it's as this beautiful camera move is lowering. It's really, really exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie is like, I think, like deeply respectful of its characters and these children, if anything. And it wouldn't ever do that. It wouldn't ever show you that, because that would be like beneath it in a way, or cheap. But it will show you like what it's showing you is like the trajectory. You know, it's showing you the kind of the gears in which like these things like unfold, which like our imaginations like fill the gaps, kind of naturally. It's giving you the structure through which you can piece things together, and that's like altogether more like affecting than any kind of ultra dramatic, like suicide moment could ever be.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it deprives you of like it deprives you of seeing death on film, right? Like it's not like a Haneke where he's like eat it up piggies,
right.
This is like,
I was gonna compare it to Benny's video, because the murder in that also happens off screen and you only kind of see the aftermath. Actually, I think there's a lot of parallels in this movie to Benny's video.
Yeah, but it feels like Benny's
it's
is
more
like
textural to me than like thematic, but
yeah, it feels like Benny's is purposefully like, you sickos, you wanted to see this happen, but we're not going to show you.
Oh yeah, it's not as interested in rubbing your nose in it like Benny's video.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's here at all, but like, it's definitely like, nah, we didn't. You get it.
Yeah,
it's like it's like you got it. You can witness this horror. It's probably worse in your head anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the Haneke thing. Is like we're hearing the kind of report of the cattle euthanizer, or whatever the fuck those things are.
Captive bolt pistol.
Captive bolt
remember
pistol.
That from the Benny's video episode.
Yeah, and No Country for
Old Men. I love that just lives in your head now.
I want it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think that technique is by showing you nothing, it shows you everything. Which, like, in this case, I mean, it's not just showing you the death, right? It's showing you her like her childlike wonder combined with her despair.
Yeah.
I mean, which is like harder,
Yeah.
right? Because now you just live with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just.
It's like
just lives in
finding
your
a suicide scene or a death scene. It's like stumbling upon one,
Yeah.
It's,
Right. Yeah, it doesn't give you answers, right? Like, you just stumble here. You are left to infer, how exactly you got here. You're like deprived the catharsis of understanding a full story. You're just left with the horror of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, one of the kind of English lyrics of Lily Chou-Chou is "I see you, you see me," which is interesting because we don't see Lily. We don't ever get access to Lily. Kind of like in a meta way, like we're seeing all these characters, they don't see us, and we can't really do anything about our seeing. We're kind of like, I mean, this is, I don't mean to like do kind of expansive like gaze thing, but we really, again, we're just there. We're just witnesses, and we can't. Yeah, that craning down. We're following the trajectory, and the metaphorical and literal trajectory. There's this like seeing and not seeing, and even the way that like I think I made this reference recently, but like Magritte's painting of the lovers, right? They both have bags over their heads, but they're kissing. This idea of like friendship happening in this flat world of the message board, and then in the 3-dimensional world, it's like they're like
it's hell on earth.
Yeah, they're passing each other blindly, like it's so sad. It's so fucking sad.
There's like one more kind of point I wanted to address about Lily that I forgot to get to earlier, but Craig, you actually just reminded me of it. It's that I feel like the way that Lily haunts this movie is it reflects perfectly this idea of like obsessing about something that's like kind of abstract to your environment. In that there's all this Lily Chou-Chou like posters and stuff, but they never like really seamlessly blend into the surroundings. They're all very noticeable. Like he gets that giant erotic poster at the beginning of the film, and it like sticks out against like this like rice field that goes on forever, and then there's this monolith of Lily Chou-Chou like stuck in the middle of the frame. She's firmly this like sort of injected texture into this sort of rural idyllic environment or whatever. It's not until they actually go to the concert where like she feels real, even where like they finally get to like Lilyland or whatever, like the Disneyland equivalent of like Lily Chou-Chou, of like, no, this is where she's going to be. This is where all the like nameless text people on the internet are also going to be. Yeah. This is where everything that we've just been like talking about and gesturing at for the past 2 hours is finally going to come to a head and exist in the real world. And feeling as well feels incredibly accurate to like how like space works when you're 14 years old. Yeah. And like how you perceive your environments, because I obviously I can't speak for my co-host, but I'm from a rural area. Whenever I went to like a city or something, it felt like transformative to a magnitude that I don't even know if I can properly express. Like just being in a different location where something that I would be interested in exists readily, that is scarce in the area where I'm actually from, was like a monumental shift for me. And even that, like, kind of like they go to a concert, but it feels like massive for the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also that, that thing of being a kid where everything is black and white, right? Like Lily isn't here, she's there.
Yeah.
Whereas like obviously Lily is wherever you have a CD player.
Yeah.
I mean, everything you just said, like it's so true to being, like you're referencing, a kid. Like things either are or aren't. There's no gray area, and like this movie is full of people who can't imagine a gray area.
Yeah.
Were you guys able to find Teddy?
Oh yeah, he's at.
Oh no, I didn't see it.
I look every time. It's like a fucking Where's Waldo I can't solve. I can't find Teddy in this goddamn movie.
Really? So it's the moment where he's at the concession stand, and there's a sort of middle-aged man in the background holding a teddy bear. It doesn't ever,
poor little Kuma.
It doesn't focus on him. He's very much like the depth of field is relatively shallow, but there's a man behind Yuichi, and he's holding a teddy bear. It's near the moment where that, or is it a different moment, where that one girl clearly sees the apple?
Yeah.
And is
and she's like watching him.
Yeah. So she's clearly from the
message
boards.
Board. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a poster.
Yeah, she's a poster, and she's doing the poster's gaze on him. Yeah.
She asks him if he has stairs in his house.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about Lily Chou-Chou?
Yeah, I looked up the camera it was shot on, because I got the Blu-ray, and it looked like a million times better than I thought it was going to, because I guess I assumed it was shot on like SD video, but it was actually shot on the Sony HDW F900R, which is actually the same HD video camera that George Lucas shot Attack of the Clones on.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so this movie looks way fucking better than that one, too.
Oh, in this movie is visually just, it's fucking gorgeous. And you're right, the texture shift when they're on Okinawa and that perspective shift of it being like found footage, making it more like tactile and real and like crime scene footage, that kind of evidentiary quality that grain has. This movie is just it's in a class of its own. There really isn't anything like Lily Chou-Chou, and it's forever gonna be the closest thing that I have to explaining or like being able to articulate properly like what it was like to be that age. Its uncanniness, it's like kind of one-to-oneness, is something that is like almost magical, and it feels like being seen, but seen in a really good way, in a deeply comforting way. And the soundtrack fucking slaps.
Yes,
it's
it does.
so fucking good.
Oh yeah. You can find Lily Chou-Chou's album on Spotify. I insist that you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right after you find Swimfans on Spotify.
Yeah.
But,
And
right after.
click subscribe on there too. Let's get that number up.
Yeah, I mean, just my final thoughts. This movie is extremely like upsetting. It's extremely poignant. It's at times beautiful. I don't know. This is just a really complicated film. I would say, especially if you're a person who kind of straddled that line between like internet and no internet.
Yeah.
So I guess if you were born in the early 90s, I would say this movie would speak to some part of your experience.
Yeah.
It's it's about how the cruelty of children, the cruelty of human beings to other people writ large. It's devastating, it's melancholy, but if you can handle the content of the film, I definitely think it's worth a watch.
It's free on Tubi.
More than once. Free on Tubi.
Free on Tubi.
It's actually also free on Amazon.
Oh, word?
Interesting.
I watched it on Amazon, and it's like free with ads, and I'm like, all right, fine, like ads, whatever. But I didn't get any ads.
Oh,
they
hell yeah,
forgot
bitch.
to give me ads.
Yeah.
So I just got
Suck
to watch
it,
it.
Bezos.
Take that, Bezos. That's one less fucking moon ride you're gonna get.
He's gonna his next spaceship is going to not have enough fuel to complete the launch. He's going to fall back to Earth because Josh didn't get ads on his watch of All About Lily Chou-Chou.
Yeah. It's
I like the idea that the spooks at Amazon listen to this episode, and all three of us are found with bullets in our skulls.
yeah. Well, as long as it ends with Daddy Bezos like getting blown up in one of those Elon Musk rockets that like are supposed to land after they launch, then like I'm fine with that.
Parody jokes.
If I had to say a negative thing about this movie, it's that my suspension of disbelief kind of stops at a kid was able to organize this child sex trafficking ring. That's about it. Is that I think that's a little more than a step further than I'm willing to go with these kids. You don't have to agree with me.
I mean, it's extremely evil, right? It does seem a little more arch than one might expect out of a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think outside of its like literalness, I think thematically.
Yeah. So like the way that it impacts the kids is like really fucking interesting. It's just that I don't know. Maybe that was just like that level of organization and just a little beyond the grasp of that. Because the type of darkness that I see in like 11 to 15-year-olds, it doesn't extend that far. It's a bit. I find it a bit more like reactionary, or like a bit more like testing boundaries. I find it a little less like, I'm gonna like do sex trafficking or whatever. That's my complaint.
Like a word with you.
Huh?
Michael Haneke's gonna hit your line later. You're gonna wake up and he's gonna be
typing.
Yeah, he's gonna be at the fucking foot of your bed again. He's gonna be sitting on your chest like a sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah. The old movie site, right?
The tomato site. Let's go.
The tomato site.
We're switching sites.
That's gonna be a splat for me.
I'll take one Belding, please.
A certified ownage. So, This is like a 4.5 for me. I'm like deciding if I want to say 5 because it could easily be a 5. I'm gonna say 4.5.
I'm also gonna say 4.5.
I will settle on 4.5.
Craig's got me second guess. Maybe at like 2 a.m. I'll wake up and adjust it and see if anybody knows. Because I have that power.
I don't know. I mean, it's like just all the shit. You know, I remember like posting, you know, message boards and like, you know, people that I knew like died. You know, and like, but they'd still be like in, you know, like popular like threads. You know, the post would still be there and shit. And it's just like, this movie just resonates with that whole bizarre experience of like knowing strangers so intimately and speaking with them in like almost exactly those same terms. It's just like,
well, like simultaneous insane temporality, like it's literally doesn't exist, like it's just words and like on an electronic screen, like it's nothing, it doesn't exist, but also it's insanely permanent,
right?
Like it just
yeah
it simultaneously doesn't exist and also never leaves.
Like it was a super fun joke fest, and like, you know, it was completely low stakes dealing with strangers on the internet, and then it's like, oh, remember when my friend like fell out doing heroin and like lost everything. Like remember that, like it's just like, you know, it's this movie just captures like the whole thing.
I mean, to collapse that, it's like in Videodrome, you know, when Dr. So-and-so is just a bunch of videotapes. Like, that's kind of like posting.
Yeah.
Dr. Brian Oblivion.
Brian Oblivion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Brain's doing great. But yeah, Craig, I'm looking forward to All About the Mars Volta. Josh, what's your movie called?
All About Streetlight Manifesto. Craig, I just need All About the Mars Volta to just not be this dark. Just,
See, you know, what's
mine's
funny about that, because I've been purposely not saying that name of that band the whole episode, but
real swim heads now.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny about that is if I were to make that version, they hated us. They openly, in press, in print, on video interview, they specifically to that forum, they said that they hated us and that we were all wasting our lives and so on and so forth. Like they just the disdain that they had for the online forum posters was just intense and is intense. So
Omar was like, "Don't go there. It's nothing but red ether. We want nothing to do with it.
This is a blue ether band only."
My movie would be called All About Sonic Adventure 2.
That movie would either be like so low stakes it's not even funny, or just the most depraved shit one could possibly think of. Yeah. Like there's no in between.
Yeah.
All About Sonic Adventure 2?
Yeah.
Oh, it would be dark as hell, baby. Oh, it'd go way too far.
It's like minute 35 and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Me and Eric Nelson are trying to hide a body or something.
Friend of the show, Eric Nelson. Shout out. Yeah, check out Lily. And as for us, and definitely check out Swimfans. All right, all about Swimfans. Let's talk about that movie.
Red ether, stay away.
You can find us online at SwimFansPod. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And you can find the show and all of its episodes with half of them, okay, with high-quality images. Yeah. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. Give us a hug.
Please.
Lily Chou-Chou is an upsetting movie. I could really use a hug. And you can find me online at user Amons, AMONNS, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Alex.
I'm online. Alexphilia. No. You can follow me on Twitter at Diatron5 and on Letterboxd at Diatron. Craig.
At Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd and www.craigneeson.com. Yeah, thanks everyone. Watch this movie.
We did it.
As always,
we finally did the All About Lily Chou-Chou episode. Now we can now go back and listen to every time we referenced it, and they'll make sense now.
As always, send Craig all of your red ether. Only blue ether for Alex and I.
I do not believe in ether. Send it to Josh.
Blue ether only. Please. Bye-bye.
Bye.